Hello, this is Tina Quizon. As we honor United Day of Women around the U.S. and the globe, today I am talking with Leng Chua about key gender equality issues, and in particular, women entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship. Thank you for joining me, Leng. If you could please share with our listeners your background and some of your expertise.
Thank you so much for inviting me to be sharing my views on this very important topic of women entrepreneurship. And I'm in Hawaii, and I am the executive director of High Beam. High Beam stands for Hawaii Business Entrepreneur and Acceleration Mentors. And what we do is we mentor technology entrepreneurs and help them to develop strong teams and a good business model so that they will be more investable, or they will be more attractive to investors. So it would include male and female entrepreneurs in the technology sector. So my expertise and my mission is to help these entrepreneurs go to market in Asia, to know and understand the Asian market so that they can grow their business into the region that way. So that would be my expertise, and of course I'm passionate about developing entrepreneurial capacity in not just the youth, but also women and even disadvantaged population groups such as inmates and prisoners that have been recently released and have entrepreneurial potential. So these are some of my areas of interest and hopefully expertise. Thank you.
Now more than ever to have you come to the table and say, not only to help women entrepreneurs, but also people that are formerly been incarcerated who, similar to women, a lot of times tend to have more disadvantages. And so I thought it'd be important to, in a nutshell, discuss with you what are some of the barriers to success and some of the issues that women and other entrepreneurs of minorities, or even people that are formerly been incarcerated who, similar to women, a lot of times tend to have more disadvantages.
I truly believe that every one of us have the ability to be creative and therefore have entrepreneurial potential. But there are a number of things that are, there's a number of things that inhibit this. And half of them or some of them would be internally oriented, internally based, which is our belief in ourselves that we have the entrepreneurial skills and abilities to start and run a business well. And also, it's not just starting a business, but often some of the failures that come from being entrepreneurial is not being able to recognize the market potential or the customer base, because we may have a really good idea, or we have the ability to create something, but we have to test it out. We have to know if people want it and people are willing to pay for it. So this type of awareness and mindset is something which is internally oriented, but it comes from within. Your belief in your entrepreneurial abilities and skills, and also it's your fear of failure, because if you are afraid to take the risk and to fail, then it would be quite difficult to launch a business, because that is a road of real uncertainty. and you need to have that kind of strength to go through it, or what we call it, the stomach, to start and run a business, because you will run into all kinds of issues. So those are some of the internal factors, but of course there's also the external factors, like the entrepreneurial ecosystem, which means what is around you. Are the business laws conducive, or is it very difficult to navigate in starting and running a business? It would be even the infrastructure, the logistics of bringing your products to market. It could be government programs, or the existence of government programs, which could be some of the programs that encourage minorities and, of course, women to start and run a business. And of course, then there are government policies which will encourage women to sell to the government, or to produce things for the government. So these are some of the factors, and of course very important is the market openness, which means that if you have to be operating with your competitors, and if they are conglomerates, if they are big business that are in the marketplace, and you cannot compete with them, then it would be also very difficult to do so. And then also within the internal factors as well as external factors are like cultural values and norms, because as an individual you may have the passion, but society does not look on entrepreneurship as something that is favorable. So oftentimes it is the media that would either support you or celebrate you or condemn you, especially when you fail at a business. So the media has a big role in encouraging entrepreneurship or even inhibiting it. And of course, a lot of people think that access to finance is a very big barrier too. So what it means is that, what is your access to capital or financing? Are the banks very ultra conservative, whereby to get a loan, a business loan from the banks would be pretty prohibitive. They just wouldn't want to entertain you. So it takes public-private partnerships. So for example, like the Small Business Administration does have a program where they will guarantee the business loans that will be given to small businesses by the bank. Of course, this SBA doesn't dispense the money. They're not the loan providers. It would be the banks, but they kind of guarantee it. So there are these types of partnerships. But I also tend to believe that the quality and the type of education and training that the youth have, or even right up to MBA level, whether these also exist to provide that kind of knowledge and training to develop entrepreneurial skills and knowledge. So I would say this is kind of a long answer, but it's a span of the factors that are in the environment, whether they are internal factors or external factors that affect your entrepreneurial opportunities.
I know in the past you tend to not only counsel but connect entrepreneurs to mentors. And it sounds like one of the best things to do is to get some training so that you can identify the niche customers. A lot of times people aren't realizing they need a business plan, all these different things that if they do need the access to capital and other things. And I think you absolutely hit it on the nail on the head when you talked about the success of an entrepreneur, because a lot of times people are telling others to go get a job, but if you're an entrepreneur, that is your job. And so I agree that the support of media and maybe looking at things differently. So talk a little bit about, globally, some of the other countries are doing different things to allow women to have this access to capital. Is the United States, are we missing a niche to help more minorities and women and others to become entrepreneurs and business owners?
Yeah. Well, in the United States, there are efforts that help small businesses. So especially, I'm very familiar with with President Obama's efforts to encourage small businesses to export, to grow by exporting. So the SBA, which is the Small Business Administration, do provide grants to entities, at the state level, whereby they will have with workshops or training to help small businesses export their products and their services. So there are these programs that are out there, but oftentimes not all businesses will be able to participate, especially if they are not ready. If they believe that the local market, that they have to focus all their attention onto the U.S. market rather than grow globally, then it's maybe it's not today, but it will be tomorrow. But you have to have the mindset of wanting to do it and preparing yourself for the future when you can export and grow your business in that way. So there are programs that are out there, and it's available to women as well as to minorities. In fact, they do promote it very much. But worldwide, there have always been more male entrepreneurs than women entrepreneurs anyway, except in developing countries where there's almost kind of like an equal, which means an equal number of male and female entrepreneurs or people who start new businesses. Like for example, in last year's Global Entrepreneurship Monitor Studies survey, Senegal, which is a developing country in Africa, well, they have the highest level of entrepreneurial activity, but most of them are started by women, and the women are starting the businesses out of necessity, which means that that is their only way to sustain themselves and provide an income to sustain themselves and their family. And oftentimes it is in the area of retail and personal services. So not very high tech, I would say. In fact, not technology based at all. So they're doing it out of necessity, and so in that situation, there could be more women entrepreneurs. Of course, it's something that is good. We celebrate as well, but perhaps with more training and, like you said, mentoring, they could actually grow their businesses. And if the end result is that they create jobs and they become self-sufficient, they would be able to accumulate more more capital for themselves to grow and to use technology to grow. So the countries that have lower levels of entrepreneurial activity, even especially amongst women, are some of the more developed countries, like some of the European countries, where the level of entrepreneurial activity is already very low, and women entrepreneurs are even less so. And it's not like they're not doing anything, but they are probably having a job because they need that kind of income certainty to help themselves and their families. So having a job is means that you have no other option. You, even if you have an entrepreneurial desire, you may not go that route because it would be far too risky, and you need that steady source of income to survive on. So worldwide, more male entrepreneurs than females, and in countries where it's almost equal or more women entrepreneurs, most of them are from developing economies, and most of them are necessity-based.
And we've talked about that in the past, Biling, and one of the things that I've seen a lot of reports on is the microfinancing, where women were like basically putting a pot together. All the women were adding a little bit of their assets, their cash, to help launch other women as with their businesses. Is that something that perhaps we're missing, or can you talk a little bit about what maybe some of the issues or barriers with that is?
Yeah, in the past, there's been, of course, we know that Dr. Muhammad Yunus founded this whole movement of microcredit, which means providing very small sums of money for women to buy material so that they can process it and make it into something they can sell in a marketplace. And it has to be kind of a cooperative or community-based, or at least that's what he more or less intended, because it would be the women that would be in the community that support each other, and therefore they wouldn't necessarily provide them with the money, but they would approve, whether they would discuss, they would decide collectively whether this woman would be successful, would be able to use this money to start a business to help herself and her family. And oftentimes the financing comes from a program. It could be an NGO doing it. It could be a community bank, or it could be a government agency that is providing this kind of program. And we're talking about very small sums of money, and very, very poor women should actually not tackle this, because what they need is help, like a sum of money or food that would sustain them. But these women are ready for this when they have some level of resource, and that they are interested in starting a business. So once again, it's an interaction of personal interest and motivation, and what is available in the community that would provide her with the infrastructure, with the resources, which includes money to start and run a business. In more developed economies like the U.S., we're not talking about small sums of money anymore. We're talking about thousands of dollars to start a business, but it's still doable because women that are already running businesses, they may need to have that additional resource, financial capital, to buy inventory, to make products or deliver a service. So it's that kind of a bridge. They need these kinds of bridging funds, to get them to the next step. not just to start a business, not just to provide people with money to start a business, but to kind of help them to grow that business. So nowadays, it's not a trend, but it's just that people are realizing that it is it's an advantage to help women or entrepreneurs that already have started a business, but to help them scale and grow that business. That's a lot more sustainable now than trying to encourage them to start a business. Starting a business is not that difficult, but sustaining and operating and growing a business is a lot more difficult, because it means that you constantly have to be in tune with the marketplace, and that you need not just money, but you need awareness. You need people in the community that can provide you with that market intelligence to say, yes, this is the way to go, or don't go there. So that kind of business coaching or mentoring is important to these women that already have started their businesses.
So enhancing their ability to get an investor to look at them so that they can sustain and also to be scalable to become a larger business. What are some of the tools, and do you know any websites, or what would be some good places for an entrepreneur to go to look at some of these things?
Yeah, the trend nowadays is actually to, for all entrepreneurs, whether you are a necessity-based entrepreneur or innovation or opportunity-based entrepreneur, is this understanding or acknowledgement of the marketplace, which means that you have to tweak and you have to change your business model so that you will always be able to identify your customers and to validate that market that you're in. So even for a poor entrepreneur in a developing economy, being able to go to market, to the town, to sell your wares, to sell your products, that means you have this awareness and this ability to travel to that place where that would be where your customer base is, where they can, where you have access to them. And I would also kind of encourage entrepreneurs, males and females, not to chase the investor. Like, a lot of times we believe that we need money. Access to capital is the only thing that is important to us. Really, it is not. It's the ability to identify that market, to know that your customers can pay and be able to sell, and that revenue actually can sustain you or can help you grow to an extent that the investors will become interested. I think the reality is that if you're looking for investors, which means that you are in the innovation or technology space, most investors will not even consider investing if you haven't proven your product, your product or your service. So the way to prove it is to sell and to prove that you have revenue or you have customers, and then they would have the confidence to kind of invest and take a risk on you and help you grow. So nowadays the trend is not to work from a ready-made business plan, not to write a business plan, but to have kind of a draft business plan, and you launch it quickly and learn from that experience. And it's probable that you may have to change your business model, or you may have to change the way you do business, or may have to change your product so that it'll satisfy that customer. So I would say that if entrepreneur, even women, can focus on this ability to recognize the marketplace, and there are a lot of resources that are out there. A very some of the textbooks, or it's not just a textbook, but it's general reading as well, would be the lean startup. Is the lean startup concept, which was written by Eric Ries, and so that's a good book to go on. And of course, if you just go on the internet and search, Small Business Administration has a great website too, sba.gov. I think I don't know whether it's gov or .org, and other and of course going to your in the city that you're in, or in the town that you're in, just look for some of those programs that promote and help small businesses.
So perhaps even your Chamber of Commerce.
Yes, that would be, because earlier on you mentioned about networks, and that's really very critical. So I would say that that's important for the entrepreneur to build their networks, so that these networks could be, they could one day be your customers. They could one day you could one day look for their services as well, and they could be your potential investors. So once again, you really have to be engaged in the business and market.
And I'm hearing a few really good, strong points. To have flexibility, not be afraid to change your business model, to continually redefine your niche market or your customers, and which I think more now than ever, is to look for the support from media, with there being Facebook, Twitter, all these different social media outlets that can also sort of give you a jump into sharing with others in building that network.
Yes, exactly. That would be absolutely correct. A good summary of it.
And I think, again, looking at your sustainability, I think, like you said, the entrepreneur really is one of the biggest risk taker, and knowing that it's a step forward every day, and it's a slow climb up the mountain of business, but it's very doable. Any last minute thoughts you want to share? And I'd love to get back to you in a couple months when you have some more time, and just do a little more. Maybe we can figure out another way to share some more information with our entrepreneurs. But anything last minute in regards to celebrating the State of Women Day?
Yeah, this is such a wonderful initiative, the United States of Women, and a day to acknowledge and to promote and celebrate that. And I would tell women that being entrepreneurial is a mindset, and that you need that mindset to start and successfully run a business. But you can also apply your mindset to whatever you're doing and wherever you are, even if you're working for a company. And if you have that entrepreneurial passion, and I know that there are companies that are out there that want that kind of employees. They look for those kinds of employees because they will be the ones that will help the business to grow. So you can be entrepreneurial wherever you are, But if you want to take that additional step and start something on your own, then that would be another journey, another kind of journey. And often entrepreneurs, males and females, they will work, they will start, and they will keep their job and their careers to an extent where they have to stop working because now their business is growing and it's got legs and they can walk and they can run. So that is, it's a journey. You know, some people can just launch it and just go. Some people require a lot more time, and they may have like family or social obligations where they need that income of a job, and then as they start and grow their business, when they're confident that that business can sustain them and their families, then they can quit that job and just go to it themselves, go and start their business themselves. And of course, you know, a big thing now is social entrepreneurship, whereby you start a business, but it's not the profits that are important. I mean, you make a profit, but that profit is used for social good. So there's so many things, and then minorities and disadvantaged people do have access to programs where they can start a business. Even like people who have retired or people who are elderly, they are what we call elder entrepreneurs too. You know, that's quite a trend as well. So there you go. You know, I would say that it's an entrepreneurial mindset, and you can be entrepreneurial wherever you are. And as a woman, it can be quite empowering.
Absolutely. And Bi-Ling, I just want to thank you again for your time. And can you share your website one more time in case people want to learn more information about you and your work?
Yes, it's HiBeam, which is HIBEAM.org.
Well, thank you so much for taking your time with us in your busy schedule. We look forward to hearing more about some of your successful mentoring and counseling and training. And feel free to contact me anytime you have some more important information that I can share with the listening audience.
Thank you. Thanks, Tina. And congratulations on taking on this program.
Thank you so much. I'll talk to you again soon. Thank you, Bi-Ling.
Okay. Yeah, bye.